Ankle sprains are a very common injury for athletes. Recovery time can vary based on the severity of damage to your ligaments, but the first goal should be to decrease swelling and protect your ankle from further injury. Remember RICE: rest, ice, compression, elevation. Try to rest your foot as much as possible in the first 24 to 48 hours following injury. During that time, apply an ice pack or submerge your ankle in cold water for 15 to 20 minutes, 3 to 5 times a day, or until swelling subsides. Compress it with an elastic bandage or sleeve for support, and when seated, elevate your ankle to the height of your hip if possible. She took a big swig from her water bottle and wiped the sweat off her brow. I watched the drops of moisture sail through the air, then disappear almost as soon as they hit the ground. "God, it's hot," she exclaimed. I nodded in agreement. Fire Mountain gets its name not only from the surrounding forests of sourwood and maple that burn red this time of year, but also because it's friggin' hot. She mentioned that only after she convinced me to join her on this godforsaken trip, of course. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've gone on adventures together since we were kids. Back then, though, it was hikes up the slide at the playground, not up the side of a mountain. Far from the lights of any city, where the only sounds are that of the wind, the waves, and the rain, Rita works year-round collecting data. Counterinsurgency is a form of low-intensity conflict which aims to eliminate or suppress insurgents acting against a particular state government or regime. Due to the nature of trying to target individuals or groups that aren't in any sort of formal war with a state, many counterinsurgency methods violate the Geneva Convention.